past few years, I've been recording and tracking my sleep. Actually, almost 2 years now I've been doing it. I sleep pretty poorly. It takes ages for me to get to sleep. And as of a couple of months ago, I decided enough was enough. And I started doing a lot of research into how to actually get to sleep. And one of the things that I found quite interesting was a lot of how good you sleep is actually dependent on your pre-bedtime routine. It's called your sleep hygiene routine, which is the official term for it. But these are the steps that I have undertaken, and it helped me a lot. Maybe it'll help you, but I'm just going to outline them in this video. Hopefully it helps someone. If you do find it helps you, please let me know in the comments below, and just work together to try and find a better sleep pattern, if you like. One of the things that actually worked best for me, which my wife actually suggested for me, was to do a digital download, all your ideas and your thoughts. And then one of the reasons I could never fall asleep was when I went to bed, my mind was racing with all these ideas that were left over in my head from the day. So what my wife Heather suggested was just write them down on a notes app. I use Evernote, so that you're not going to worry about forgetting them, because you can read those notes the next day or look back on them whenever, and you're still going to get you're going to remember what those notes said, and you're not going to forget. So there's no requirement to basically think through this stuff at night and ponder it and think, oh, I need to remember that, because you just write it down on a note and then it's there for you in the morning. Once I've done my kind of digital download, generally about an hour before I go to bed, I go and put my phone up in the bedroom so that I can't see it anymore. One thing, your phone is terrible for you basically before going to bed. Social media, terrible thing to look at before going to bed. YouTube videos, pretty terrible. Some people are probably going to watch this before they go to bed, but ultimately it's pretty terrible sitting looking at your phone or your tablet before you go to bed. A much better thing to do is to read a book. I generally read quite regularly. I normally get about 3 hours worth of reading in per day, and I also listen to audiobooks as well, so I do consume quite a lot of books. People say that fiction is the best to help you drift off to a peaceful sleep. I'm not so picky. I just kind of pick up the book that I'm currently reading, whether it's a physical book or a Kindle, it doesn't really matter. But I pick up the book and I read it for about 35 to 40 minutes. Next thing I do, I brush my teeth, just because it's good hygiene, and the dentist wants you to brush your teeth twice a day, and before bed's a great time to do it. And the next thing I use is actually, I've been meditating twice a day. Before bed, I have a kind of sleep meditation. I use the Calm app to help me do it, and I also meditate in the morning around 9:30. It only takes 10 minutes, so it's not a lot of time to do it, but it's actually one of the biggest helpers, is that right word, in helping me get to sleep, I feel anyway, or since I've started to do it. So I would thoroughly recommend the Calm app. They have kind of nighttime meditations, which helps you fall asleep, but they also have bedtime stories for adults, which are quite interesting. I never thought I would be into that type of thing. One thing also is caffeine. It's terrible for going to bed. I've now started drinking my last tea or coffee about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and if I fancy a hot drink nearer bedtime, I go with either peppermint or chamomile. It's much better, and the herbs and the things it releases is proven to help you drift off more soundly. Unfortunately, normal traditional tea, like English breakfast or coffee, is just not going to help you go to sleep. As part of my sleep tracking as well, the Aura Ring is great, but I also just record a couple of notes in my Evernote just to record how I slept that night, and my own thoughts. Part of that is because to build up a good sleep hygiene routine, it takes time, so there is no one fix for basically getting a good night's sleep. You need to do all these things. Hopefully they bring benefit to you, but the process is ultimately going to take me months, 6 months to a year, to find out what works for me, and then find out what is helping me get a good night's sleep. And through that process, it's going to be slow, but hopefully I get there in the end until I'm feeling like I'm getting a good night's sleep. Since starting it, I'm falling asleep much faster than before. Whereas I used to think I was falling asleep maybe an hour after I go to bed. I would lie awake for an hour, maybe 2, before finally falling asleep, just purely due to tiredness rather than actually wanting to go to sleep. I would wake up regularly during the night, 2, 3 times during the night, and then I would toss and turn because I was kind of at war with my own mind. Like, I must fall asleep because I need to be up in the morning for work. But then I'm getting angry and at war with myself because I can't fall asleep. And that just causes turmoil in my head. And it just becomes like a nightmare of me fighting with my own thoughts. But since actually practicing a better sleep hygiene or pre-bedtime routine, I've found that while it does still take me about half an hour to fall asleep, once I'm actually asleep, then I don't really wake up anymore at all. And that can be only seen as a good thing. So I'm feeling much more well rested once I fall asleep. One of the final things I was going to mention to you is work out what your actual bedtime is. I'm not going to go in too much depth here, but the way your sleep works and what I've found out through much of the research I did, so it works on like REM sleep cycles. Each sleep cycle is about 90 minutes long, and to complete, you need to complete minimum of 4 sleep cycles to, from what the experts say, feel like well rested. If you don't complete 4, then you're probably going to feel pretty tired during the day and pretty groggy. But the bit that not a lot of people know about is if you wake up halfway through one of these 90-minute sleep cycles, you're probably going to feel pretty terrible, even though you've had enough sleep. Because you've not completed the whole cycle, your body is in a kind of turmoil and it doesn't really know if it's coming or going because it's been interrupted from this natural sleep cycle that takes 90 minutes. Actually, if you work out when you need to be up in the morning, there's an excellent website called Sleepy Time that I'll link in the description below. But it helps you work out when you need to go to bed. So it asks you when you need to be awake in the morning. For me, I like to get up about 7 o'clock in the morning on work days anyway. So it suggests that I should be aiming to fall asleep about 11:15. But the interesting thing is, it says if you can't get to kind of asleep by 11:15, it doesn't suggest going to bed. The actual next better time it says to try and be asleep is not till 12:30. So if I can't get to bed by 11 o'clock to aim to fall asleep by about 11:15, it's actually more beneficial for me to stay up almost an hour and a half more, kind of skip that sleep cycle rather than to fall asleep during it, which in turn will cause me to wake up midway through a sleep cycle. So that's a kind of interesting thing that not a lot of people know about, that you should pay attention to the 90-minute sleep cycles and work out where and when you should be going to bed, and try and not wake yourself up in the middle of one of those sleep cycles. Ideally, you should be waking up once as your sleep cycle comes to an end. If you manage to do that, you'll likely wake up and feel quite rested, like you've had a great night's sleep. Anyway, that's all that I've got to say today. Thank you very much for watching. If you are enjoying these videos that I'm trying to put out more regularly, please like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified of any of new videos. And thanks very much for watching. See you later.